it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Look, that team's stealing away. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side, going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Brad Rucker for the touchdown. Kraft shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and rolling here on a Thursday. I'm Brandon Beam, hanging out with my guy Patrick Murphy. We're live over at Yogi's in Grandview. We got $3 Coors Light specials all the way until 8 o'clock, so come out and hang with us. We got our guy Nate Dogg behind the glass. Murph, happy Thursday to you, my friend. What's happening?
Not much. It's crazy to think in a week from now we'll be less than 48 hours from Buckeyes kicking off the 2025 season against Texas.
I can remember doing our first show here, and we were about 8 weeks away from that, 2 months away from that happening. And now fast forward, Pat, we are inside double digits. Next week we will be inside of 48 hours before that's happening.
Yes, crazy how fast this goes, but I think we're both looking forward to it.
Absolutely we are. We got a great show lined up for you here this evening. Pat, we'll get your thoughts real quick on the rather large news here this past week from the Woody that Julian Sayin was named the starting quarterback. So haven't heard from you this week on that front, so we'll get your thoughts on that coming up momentarily. Got a lot of sound for you tonight. We'll do some coordinators coming up here in our next segment. Little Matty P, some Brian Hartline coming up at 6:17. Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row. He's going to join the program coming up here at 6:30, 6:45. We'll go with the offensive side of the ball. It was tight ends day, the final day of Ohio State camp yesterday. We'll hear some from Keenan Bailey coming up here around 6:45. We'll do the pulse. Nate just mentioned there in the Sports Center. It does look like the SEC has bent the knee to the Big Ten. They're officially going to 9 conference games. So we'll do that. We got a little Pat Fitzgerald news to go over a little bit later. And then we'll hear from Matt Guerrieri in the 7 o'clock hour. And finally, Tony Gerdeman of Buckeye Huddle. He will join the program at 7:30. How's your week been? Okay? Been good? I know that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all over at the Woody, kind of hanging out. Today was maybe not nice and relaxing, but the weather was pretty cooperative.
Yes, I had somebody text me the other day, or yesterday I guess it was, and was like, hey, if we can get this weather for Texas, that would be great. And so we
did almost a full segment on that last night, previewing the 10-day forecast and what the weather is going to look like next Saturday.
Not bad,
but it can change because we live in Ohio, so it could be rainy, it could be thunderstorms, or it could be 95 degrees and smoking hot.
Right. I don't think that it just can change. It will change one way or the other. No, week's been good. Busy, but that's the best kind of busy. I was talking to one of the Ohio State coaches as he walked off the field the other day. It's just like, this is it, like time of the year. And he's like, yeah. He was like, you guys are just as busy as we are. And I was like, yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that. It's very different.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very nice thing of that coach to say. I don't necessarily agree with him. It is a busy time of the year for everybody who is kind of in this landscape. But for those guys specifically, I mean, they've been over at the Woody for, I don't even want to guesstimate how many hours a day they've been there for the last 3 weeks.
I was going to say that no one's going to yell at me if they lose to Texas, but that's actually not true. People will yell at me.
Yes, everyone will yell at each other.
Yes, so... yeah, we don't have the same kind of pressure, but there is at least, there's a lot of work going on for everybody involved. You too. I mean, this just ramps it up, and we're off and running. So, yeah, it's been a good week. A lot going on to get ready for next week, but this is why we do it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. By the way, again, we're out at Yogi's in Grandview, 6 to 8 tonight. Next week, we will not be here on Thursday. We're going to be here on Tuesday a little bit earlier. So, 2 of our next 4 shows are going to be out here at Yogi's. That'll be your last chance to come and hang out with us before the Buckeyes kick off the season next week against Texas. Pat, we finally learned on Monday that Julian Sayin was named the starting quarterback. Just your thoughts, because I know when we were doing the Friday show, we talked potentially about captains. We talked potentially about the Block O winner, which ended up being Sonny Styles, your 4 captains of the season, being Caleb Downs, Sonny, and then on the offensive side of the ball, you get Brandon Innes and Austin Sareveld. We did all those candidates. And then I said, well, what about Monday? Ryan Day's press conference, do you believe a starting quarterback is named? And you went through all the data, the empirical evidence, and you said, well, if a starting quarterback is going to be named, it likely is going to be Monday. We did find out that Julian Sayin is going to be the guy.
No huge surprise, I think, as we've talked about all summer, since spring practice ended, even before that. I think most people expected that this would be the ultimate decision. I think Ryan Day's discussion of why they went with Julian Sayin was important. He was doing things that you need to see. And this wasn't just hey, we're getting close. We got Texas on the schedule. We don't want to have no guy named. Julian Sayin won this job,
Yeah.
and I think that's important.
Well, I think it became evident, too, when you listened to Ryan Day, and I know we'll hear from Brian Hartline coming up here in our next segment, too, but you just kind of listened to everybody, and even the tight ends yesterday. You listened to a little bit of Max Clare or Bennett Christian talking about how Julian, like everyone was, kind of in not in the fact that it was a divided locker room, Pat, but, like Lincoln will be fine. Lincoln's still Lincoln. He's still playing a very important role for this team, but the separation did happen, and that's why I don't think Ryan Day would have named a starting quarterback if they weren't ready. We have seen that before in the past.
No, I don't think so. And if there was any sort of confusion, just like, hey, he's looking better, but this,
Sure.
or Lincoln still does this a little bit better, I think it would have played out. He doesn't need a Monday press conference to announce that, right? Especially to the team. He could have done it Wednesday. He could have done it Thursday. Just because there's a press conference doesn't mean he has to make that decision on a Monday. It just makes it easier.
I don't think he did make it on a Monday.
No.
He probably made it over the weekend coming out of that scrimmage, or even before that.
When he even said it was really about a week before the separation, and that lined up with what I think a lot of people had kind of said inside that building. I think that had started to sort of get out there a little bit, was that, hey, we're hearing that Julian has started to separate himself and started to do the things you wanted to see from him that we'd been talking about. The consistency, huge. The arm talent was never a problem. It was just, hey, can you do that arm talent every day, every throw?
Well, and the leadership aspect, too. I think that was a big challenge from Ryan Day's. Was it his first press conference of training camp, Pat? Maybe his first or his second, where he kind of took a step back and said, listen, what also needs to happen in this is you need to grow. You need to do the small things right. Like we know about the arm talent. And to your point, I think consistency and leadership is probably where Julian Sayin was pushed the most this camp. And then he came through the other side as a starter. And that's not to say that he's not going to have growing pains. I mean, he's a first-time starter in college football with the expectation of the entire world of Buckeye Nation around him. Like, that is a pretty large expectations to have. And he will go through growing pains. I'm not sure if it's going to be against Texas. I don't know if it's going to be against Grambling.
Right.
OU, like, name your game. But there will be certainly growing pains for a first-time starting quarterback. Doesn't matter which program you're at. That is a natural thing to be expected.
Absolutely. I went back and looked at the first season of each of the guys under Ryan Day. So Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, Kyle McCord, Will Howard. Will Howard sort of being an outlier there, given he'd played 4 years. But
he was a fifth-year guy.
It was still first time in this offense, first time with these guys. He talked about the speed and everything. And there were growing pains for all of them. Nobody came out of the gates and was just perfect. Like, Justin had a really good first game, but a lot of it was a big run. He was
against
efficient.
FAU?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Obviously, there was criticism of CJ early on. We know how that turned out. Kyle McCord, I still contend, was Kyle the best quarterback Ryan Day's had? No. But you look at those numbers, he had a pretty good season. I mean, he didn't throw 40 touchdowns like those other two did, but he had 26, 27 touchdowns. Not everybody's going to be those guys, and you saw what he did.
Well, that's what I'm talking
year.
about when it comes down to expectations.
Yeah.
Because really, like, in the pantheon of college football quarterbacks, and you look at that year, like, Kyle McCord was just fine. Like, it was a fine college quarterback to have. But the expectations, Pat, are so crushing here sometimes that it's a whole different stratosphere of pressure.
Yeah, and I don't think Julian will have an issue, though
he's got enough weapons around
absolutely
him to alleviate some of those issues.
And I do think, with Kyle, it was a lot of Marv, because Emeka was hurt that year on and off. So, I think that affected things a little bit. But speaking of Julian, there was a tweet that was going around. I think ESPNU put it out, of a high school highlight.
I saw it.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 highlights from I forget who maybe Mater Dei.
They were playing Mater Dei, yeah.
And it just reminded me, and I think we should bring this up, he's really athletic. Like, we talked about Lincoln being the more potential dual threat guy. Look, again, I've said this before, I don't think Julian's first instinct is to run, and I don't think he'll need to. I think his offensive line's going to be pretty good. But he can do a lot of those things, and, we saw it with CJ his freshman year, right, when he took off on the big run against Michigan State.
Man, this is going to be a great weapon to have.
Right. And
then he didn't do it again.
Until Georgia, though.
Yeah, that is right.
When
Correct.
he needed it against Georgia. And even Will Howard, when we heard Will Howard, he's going to add something to the offense, Will didn't run that much last year.
He could have had more if he didn't trip a couple of times.
Yes, but, I mean, they were very pick and choose when they're going to have Will Howard take off and run. He was also of that mindset. So I think Julian can still give you some of that as well if you need that in the offense. offense.
Absolutely he can. So all kinds of good stuff coming out here this week from Buckeye Camp. Camp is officially done now, and they have turned their eyes to Texas, which should be a fantastic game coming up next Saturday at the Horseshoe. Just a reminder, we are out again at Yogi's in Grandview. $3 Coors Light draft specials until 8 o'clock. Again, Yogi's in Grandview. How have the coordinators seen the growth in camp from Julian Sand? You're going to hear from them coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Heading back to school, we are stronger together. Educators and parents on a mission to make sure our public school students have what they need to succeed. We are excited together, ready to make this the best school year yet. We are better together. I'm Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing, asking you to stand with OEA for the great public schools Ohio students deserve. We are stronger together this school year because public education matters.
An official message from Medicare.
I'm saving money on my Medicare prescriptions. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, my premium is zero and my out-of-pocket costs are low. Who should apply? Single people making less than $24,000 a year or married couples who make less than $32,000. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
For over 30 years, Schumacher Homes has been building affordable custom homes throughout the Buckeye State. Experience true customization on your land, your way, without any compromises. Come visit any of our 9 Ohio model home and design studio locations to see the latest in design trends and learn about our award-winning building process, or start online at SchumacherHomes.com. You'll be surprised how affordable a custom home will be. Schumacher Homes, proud home building sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, a little breezy and a little cool. Temperatures running in the mid to upper 70s on this Thursday, but at least we're dry. Overnight down to the mid-60s with clearing skies and light winds by Friday morning. And during the day, plenty of sunshine, light winds, and a perfect end of the week and start to your weekend. Temperatures back in the low to mid-80s. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy Patrick Murphy over at Yogi's in Grandview. $3 Coors Light draft specials until 8 o'clock. Come and hang out with us. We're not going to be here next Thursday because we're kicking into football season, but we will be here next Tuesday. So if you haven't had a chance so far to come and hang out, please do so either tonight or on Tuesday. Pat, why don't you fire a number at our fantastic listeners right now?
7.
All right, caller number 7 right now, 614-821-9710. You get in and you talk to Nate, and guess what? You're going to get a pair of tickets to compete in our season kickoff trivia contest. All right? It's Friday, next Friday, August 29th, over at the O on Lane. Bring the heat, bring your A game, bring a teammate, because if you win that trivia contest, you get a pair of tickets to go see Ohio State and Texas next Saturday over at the Horseshoe. 614-821-9710. That's the phone number. Call in, get into Nate, and you'll be walking away with a pair of tickets to compete. And if you win that, again, pair of tickets to Ohio State and Texas on the line. You can also go buy tickets at 971thefan.com. Teams are $60, or if you want an individual ticket, you think you can just take on the entire world as a solo Jack Park, Steve Hellwagon type, $30 for you to enter in that. How excited are you for next week's festivities?
Which festivities?
Well, I mean, just getting back.
The whole week?
Yeah, getting back into the flow of football season, right? Because Ryan Day will do his press conferences will move from Monday to Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You guys will have player availability on Wednesday nights. You will have Buckeye, the Ryan Day Coaches Show, and then a lightning round on Thursday. Yep. The best Fridays in football, Pat, and then boom, before you know it, I mean, we're going to be at game day. So it's our first game week of the season here.
It's always nice to have a routine, and that's something we miss pretty much except this time of year, right? Because
until we get to, like, the first week in August, Pat's just staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up at noon.
Well, and even then, it's, okay, which day are we going to the Woody to talk to people, and who are we talking to today, and all that stuff. And, you know, basketball season, because the schedule, interviews are on different days, and it just kind of depends on when they're trapped. So it is nice during the football season. I know, okay, Mondays, I have my day to do whatever, you know, looking back at the game, that type of stuff.
GSD days, get stuff done.
Tuesdays, we're at the Woody. Wednesday night, we're at the Woody. Thursday at noon, I'm listening to Ryan on the show, the lightning rounds you mentioned. So it is nice. Like, you get into a flow. There's some things that, like, just kind of take care of themselves in terms of the written side of things. So it will be nice to get back into that, no doubt. And, look, people ask me all the time, is this like the end of your summer, like teachers, you know, that you have to go back to school? Like, as much as you love teaching, it's still a job and stuff like that. I'm like, no, this is not the same. This is me getting to go sit at a stadium and watch football.
It's a little bit different. You don't have to be in school for 8 hours a day. You get to actually watch and talk to real-life Ohio State football players, which is great.
Mostly adults, some children, depending on when they arrive on campus. But yeah, no, this is great. I'm excited to get it all going. Like, fall camp's always a good teaser, right? Because there's football in the air. We're talking about actual things instead of speculation. Spring practice gives you a little bit of that. But then
spring practice is still more speculation than actually when you get to fall camp and get to talk to a coach and players almost like every single day.
Right. So, yeah, once we get into it, it's great. I'm looking forward to it. And I do like, as much as I said earlier I think during fall camp we talked about, like, whether we like the first week being against a team like that, and I said I'd prefer it to be week 2 or 3 just because you get a sense of who the team is before that. But if
it does make this fun, though.
Yes, if they were playing Grambling this week and Texas week 2, it's just like, all right, let's get through the Grambling week.
See, I don't think so, because it's the first game of the season.
No, and there's still excitement, but just like everyone wants to talk Texas. And they're not going to talk about Texas over at the Woody because you got to respect Grambling, right? And so it does make it fun out of the gates. Like, this is a game everyone is focused on. And, yeah, I know fans, like, you want to go out, you want to have the first game. And it's exciting for that, exciting for us to get back to the shoe. You know, even when they've opened, like, at Indiana, that's enough of a game that people are interested.
It's a real-life conference game.
Yeah,
that's a college football playoff participant.
Exactly.
Indiana to you.
Not when they were opening there.
That is true. You are right about that. But they didn't have Mr. Sig over there yet.
Right. But I do think this adds some juice to the coverage of Week 1. And, look, everyone's going to be watching this game Saturday at noon. Right?
Everybody's going to be watching Kansas State and Iowa State.
Well, yeah. This Saturday
for Week 0. The countdown is already on for those guys.
Yes, and so exciting. Exciting is the word I will keep repeating until we get to Saturday. That Saturday at noon.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate, who is the winner of the trivia contest and has a chance to win Ohio State Texas tickets next Friday?
That was Justin in Pickerington.
Justin from Pickerington, congratulations to you. Make sure that you get a good teammate, Justin, or you can just bring yourself and try to be a one-man army. Big congratulations to you on that front. Again, that is, I believe, 1 to 2:30 next Friday over at the O on Lane, which is going to be fantastic and rocking. There's going to be all kinds of events down on campus, plus a holiday weekend. Just get out of work a little bit early, catch a Friday night football game, high school football, all that good stuff. Kind of ramping up. We were just talking about Julian Sayin in our last segment, announced the starting quarterback here for the start of the season. We have heard from Ryan Day on the Julian Sayin front, but what about Matt Patricia and his perspective? Nate, we'll go to 202 here, and Matt Patricia talking about Julian Sayin and his decision-making against his Buckeye defense.
For me, it was really what I saw is just, his decision-making when I'm showing different looks or we're having different coverages or we're rolling through practices without scripts, where things are going to be moving at a little bit of a different pace and being able to handle the tempo of the offense and things like that. In the huddle, adjustments at the line of scrimmage, it kind of threw a bunch of different things at them. And I think his poise, his ability to kind of see the defense and then also really make quick decisions.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, you think about that and what Matt Patricia's seen, and he's particularly seen some very good quarterback play when he's had to coach against his own teams, Pat. Not that Tom Brady was a spectacular quarterback or anything, but I think he would understand good quarterback play and quick decision-making, right? He has the kind of panache and probably good idea of what he's watching at the quarterback position, spending forever with Tom Brady.
Well, not only that, but the man was the head coach. The man was an offensive coordinator, which was something I completely forgot about until a friend of mine who is a Patriots fan brought this up the other day. So, I mean, as much as we label Matt Patricia as like this defensive guy, and he definitely is, he knows what it takes on the other side of the ball. I mean, he's coaching Matthew Stafford. Guy, I'm happy to be back in practice.
Everybody won that trade, okay?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, he coached a really good quarterback there as a head coach when he was the offensive coordinator briefly back in New England. It didn't go well, but there were a lot of issues that went beyond Matt Patricia. So he knows quarterback play.
Yeah.
Is he as dialed in on it as Ryan Day or Billy Fessler? Probably not.
No, probably not. But still, he knows it. He's done it before.
Yes, and you have to be able to dissect it and things like that as a defensive guy. And so I thought that was interesting to hear, not only what he thought of Julian Sayin, but his perspective on challenging him challenging all these quarterbacks with their defense, because that's only going to make all these guys better.
Yeah, what about the guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage? Here was Matt Patricia. Nate, we'll go to 200 straight at the top there. Matt Patricia talking about Arch Manning.
Yeah, I'm worried about what his uncles are telling him right now. It's probably the biggest thing for me. I got a chance to actually see Arch last summer, and just, he's big, he's strong, he's really athletic. He's got a very live arm. He can push the ball downfield. So he's a really good player. This is a huge challenge for us, but it'll be good. It'll be fun in the shoe. I'm excited to have our fans out there yelling and screaming. See how he handles all the pressure of that too. But I'm sure his uncles and his dad, and his grandfather, they've pretty much groomed him as a quarterback, his entire life. So he's a great kid. He's a tremendous young man. But that'll be a big challenge for us. Should be fun.
I do wonder, honestly, how much Arch Manning picks Eli and Peyton's and Archie's, and even his dad Cooper, who I guess was a terrific athlete. And I've watched it was an ESPN 30 for 30, but maybe like a Jeremy Schaap piece on him. Then he had a horrific injury. Pat never played again. But I do wonder how much like Peyton and Eli are willing to get in kind of the film room with him, or if they're like, you know what, just let him do his own thing, let him be his own guy. I know that Archie got in a little bit of trouble saying he's going to stay for 2 years, and then Arch had to come out and kind of squash that and be like, listen, just focused on this year. But I do kind of wonder about that with Arch Manning and how much he goes to the well with that pool of knowledge that family has for that position.
I think you have to use it when you need it.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. Like, you don't want Peyton and Eli or any of those family members to be, huddled around him all the time, anytime he's home, trying to give him advice, text him, calling him. But it's good to have those guys' numbers to call up and be like, hey, I saw this, or, can I send you some film? You give me he's getting great coaching at Texas, let's be honest. Sark and those guys do a good job.
Of course.
But to have that as another resource is great. And look, from Matt Patricia's perspective, he's done battles with both those guys, right?
Yeah.
He's had a lot of success against Peyton.
Has not had a lot of success
not so
against
much
Eli.
Success against Eli. And,
Sorry, Patriots fans. Actually, no, we're not. You won enough. You're fine.
Right. They did not need 2 more Super Bowls. But so that is another interesting dynamic heading into next week of, like, Manning versus Patricia part whatever, right? And it's a different Manning.
Is that going to be your headline next week? Is that going to be one of them?
I would probably figure out how many games he's played against them. And but I think that's an interesting story. I don't know. It would take a lot of digging into all of these games and whatnot. And I don't know if I'm
You're
gonna
a
have time for that.
journalist. That's your job.
Yeah, well, there's
I
a
see
lot.
how many tabs you have open over there.
Oh, that's only the.
Jeez.
But
Man, there's like 45 tabs open.
But yes, so that
look at all that research you're doing.
Maybe we'll get to that next week. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on before that game, so we'll see. But it is an interesting narrative.
We'll do one more here, Nate. We'll go to Brian Hartline, 204, in Julian's growth as a leader through this camp.
That was a big part of it. I think command and earning the respect of your peers, and ultimately the locker room always knows. I mean, it doesn't matter what you may think, but the locker room, knows the reality. So just, building that camaraderie, I think body of work, and earning the respect of your peers and the trust of your peers. And if you just enhance one little piece, it'll get pointed out. You got to be able to grow in all facets. And I think that, he's done that since the day he got here to where he's at now.
And I bet he was challenged by Brian Hartline and Billy Fessler and Ryan Day. Certainly Ryan Day in front of a microphone. And I can't imagine what he was challenged as the leadership aspect in that room, Pat, during actual padded practices when that race was neck and neck.
The challenges, I imagine, were immense for all these guys. Yeah. And that's what you want, because when you win the starting job, that's only the beginning, right? Now you've got to go out and play Texas, and that challenge is
a lot different.
Yeah, and you hope that everything you've seen, we're talking about Matt Patricia's defense, prepares you to go out and do that, but until you do it in front of 100,000 people, and
yeah, you can't really replicate that.
Look, Julian, I think he's thrown 12 college passes or something right there.
Bennett Christian caught a touchdown.
Yes, but the who he's throwing to, the pressure of that situation is very different. And I think with Brian Hartline, like, it's been interesting all offseason to hear him talk beyond receivers and to dissect, okay, has he done the homework to really be this? And look, I don't have enough of a window into those meeting rooms and things like that, but I do feel confident in some of the answers when he's talking quarterback play, when he's talking offensive line.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you asked him that 4 or 5 years ago when he's just a wide receivers coach, he's probably not able to give you those. He'd answer it because he's a football guy, but I think He's giving you much better answers now than he would have, and that's what you want to see from him, too, because he's going to be a big part of this equation.
Yeah, absolutely is, and he talked about his development as a coach, which we'll get into a little bit later. Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row. He's going to join the program. We'll talk a little Buckeyes with him coming up in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We could tell you what makes Giant Eagle special, but we think our customers say it best.
I love the fresh produce. I love the fresh meat.
I'm pretty sure the fish guy knows me by now. We're buds.
I love to grill. That alone keeps me coming back.
The people that work here are so nice and so helpful.
Everybody loves the cakes from Giant Eagle.
On every shelf, in every department, we're always going for better, because being your Giant Eagle matters.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
When you're ready to sell your car, another reason to choose Hinder Motor Company is the easy, fast, fair, and hassle-free way to sell. This is Justin Hinderer. We pay top dollar for your vehicle, whatever the make or model, and no purchase is necessary. Consider trading and get even more toward your next vehicle. Drive in today and leave with cash, or get a great deal. See why it's a pleasure doing business. Just visit HinderMotorCompany.com.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
4 out of 5 dentists recommend this show. The other dentist is a Michigan fan. Yuck. You're listening to the Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy Murph over at Yogi's in Grandview. 6 to 8, come and hang out with us. Just had a very fine listener, Phil. Come over, chatting, saying he loves everything that we do, so always love interacting with our fans, which was absolutely fantastic. By the way, tomorrow, 30-minute show for us because we got high school football, Pat, which is going to be absolutely terrific. And I know that you're a big high school football guy, and you can't wait to get out some stadiums this year.
I go to some games every once in a while. No, I do try and attend. If there is a bigger game or two Ohio State guys playing that maybe our recruiting people need some help with or whatever, I will do that. But it does become, especially, obviously some Fridays we're traveling, can't cover those, and then there's only so many hours in a day, right?
That's true.
My My job primarily is to do the team stuff, so got to focus on that.
So tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we will take you to Big Walnut against Bishop Watterson, which is our first game out of the gates, which should be terrific. Right now, we're going to head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Check with our guy of Letterman Row. He is Spencer Holbrook. Spence, thanks for the time. Are you going to any high school football games tomorrow around the area?
No, but I got Watterson in that matchup for what it's worth. And if you guys would have told me you were at Yogi's, I might have come out, had a pint, and done this thing live.
Well, usually we do Beers and Buckeyes with Pat Murphy at 6:30 on Friday, Spence, and we have to hold the Coors Lights back, at least for us, until 8 o'clock. But you should see Murph right now. The drool is like actually appearing on his, what is that, a Britney Spears shirt?
It is a Britney
Which is
Spears
a great
shirt.
But yeah, you can still come on down.
Yeah, get in the car now. You can be here by the end of the segment.
There's plenty of time. Just get in the car. You have Bluetooth, right?
You guys are absolutely right. I'll see you guys in 30. We'll just get out of here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got plenty of TV, Spence. They'll throw on some cityscapes for you, I'm sure. So what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on Monday when Ryan Day announced Julian Sayin as the starter, Spencer?
I thought it was expected at this point in camp. Ohio State needed 10 days to prepare for Texas. They needed 10 days to give somebody the full first-team reps, and I think that's probably the best course of action right now for this team is to give somebody those reps. Who was better over the last 2 weeks and who was better just, I think, throughout the whole body of work, as Ryan Day said, it was Julian Sayin. So I thought it was the right move. I think it was the right call, and I think that Ohio State can now move forward with their quarterback, and build around him instead of continuing to wonder, when one of these two guys is going to take the next step or secure the job. Julian did enough, and I think it was time to rip that interim or that co-quarterback tag off and make one of these guys 2v1.
Speaking of quarterbacks, obviously Lincoln not going anywhere, so he's still going to be pushing and being the backup. What do you see him needing to do to be ready in case he has to step in a big moment like we saw Devin Brown last year a couple times?
Yeah, it's interesting because Devin had that touchdown to Jeremiah that made those NFL scouts stand up in the Michigan State press box. So
it made me stand up at a wedding.
Yeah, you almost got thrown out. I've heard this. Yeah, I think he is ready. Like, they could use him in that red zone package like they used Devin 2 years ago, against Penn State. And I think it was the Purdue game where he came in and didn't look bad when Kyle was struggling a little bit in the red zone. So I think there's always going to be a role for a second quarterback if you choose to do so. Now, the problem is I think Julian's a little bit more mobile than Kyle was. Obviously, I don't think he's Will Howard out of the pocket, but I think he's a little bit more mobile than people give him credit for. And so will they need Lincoln in that role? I don't know, but for an Iron Buckeye, a guy who worked his tail off to get to this point, you got to think that they're going to at least try to find a role for him in some form or fashion. But again, you're trying to win games more than anything, so if you don't need him, you don't have to use him. But there is a role for him if they see one fit.
He is Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Spence, between the end of camp yesterday, I guess starting today, all the way in the run-up to the best Friday in football, by the time that the ball hits the foot, or I guess foot hits the ball, Saturday around noon next week over at the Horseshoe, what do you think Ohio State needs to accomplish the most here in these 9 days or so?
I think it's communication. You've got two new coordinators. You've got Brian Hartline, putting in a game plan that's going to be, his own play calls for the first time in his career. And I'm sure Ryan Day is going to have a heavy input in that. But I think the communication there between he and Julian Sayin and even he and Carson Hinsman need to be in lockstep in all of this. Between Sayin and Hinsman and Hartline, they need to be really good and shored up there. And then I think the same can be said for Sonny Styles on the helmet comms with Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia's entire brain trust, just understanding what he wants to accomplish with this game plan. I think one of the most underrated aspects of all of this is every coach goes into a game with something they want to get done in that game other than just win the game. And for Matt Patricia, it's his first time calling a college football game ever. And so, he hasn't worked in college football since, I think, 2001 or 2003. So he needs to put a game plan in that everybody can communicate well, that everybody can be on the same page for, and they can go execute at a high level and make it simple enough for everybody to understand, while also setting the tone that this is what a Matt Patricia defense is going to look like against the number one team in the country. So I think it's just coaching, communication, installing a good game plan, and being confident in what Brian Hartline and Matt Patricia want to accomplish against the Longhorns, and I think they can be successful.
You brought up Brian Hartline there. We were just listening to some audio from him from earlier in the week before we had you on. What has been your impression of him as he's stepped into this, I guess we'll call it the full offensive coordinator role this offseason, and just the confidence in him being able to do the job based on what you've seen and heard?
I've been really impressed. And Pat, I know you remember, just like I do, in the spring we were standing there talking to Tyler Bowen, and he mentioned that Brian Hartline's the most organized coach he's ever been around. I think Hart has always been pretty organized. I don't know if he would ever be classified as the most organized, and now he takes that next step in his organization. He knew that was something he needed to do in order to take this step as a play caller, so he wouldn't lose a step as a wide receivers coach. He knew he's never going to give that part up, and so he had to be the most organized guy in the building in order to be able to be a high-level wide receivers coach and a high-level play caller. I've been really impressed with the things that we've heard about him, from that play calling standpoint and from the standpoint of just he's been able to do both and juggle those responsibilities and not really miss a beat. I think that's probably the best thing about him right now is he seems just completely locked in on both jobs, and he's not really losing anything from either job. And that's something that, if we're all being honest, we probably worried about a little bit if it was going to pull him out of that receiver room. But it seems like, and all reports indicate, that hasn't been the case, and I think that's a really good thing for Ohio State and for Brian Hartline to show that he can do it.
Spencer, I know that this offense isn't going to look like totally different from what it's looked in the years in the past, and Ryan Day will obviously still have huge influence on calling plays and what the actual game plan is going to be in a week-in, a week-out matchup. But when it comes down to, 3rd and 2 or 4th and 1 at the 50 or 40, like whatever, like these short plays where these guys always wanting to talk about extending drives. What does Brian Hartline, you think, rely on when they get to those situations? Because Chip Kelly had a whole weapon set, I feel like, last year of all kinds of funky formations, eye candy, backfields, like just all kinds of different stuff. Like, to you, what does Brian Hartline rely on those like crucial situations?
The good news for him is they went out and got him a bruising running back like C.J. Donaldson, where in theory you should just be able to hand him the rock and get 1 or 2 yards anytime you need it, because at 225 pounds, he's still just as hard to bring down as he was when he was 245, toting it for West Virginia. So that's probably step one. Step 2 is figuring out, like you said, those short yardage. You don't have Will Howard at 6'4", 235 pounds to just lean forward anymore, like he did so many times last year, the quarterback sneaks that were so effective for this team. He's now got 6'1", 210-pound Julian Sayin. That's a little different. And so it might be one of the most intriguing things, that first 3rd and 1, that first 2nd and 1, where are they setting something up? Are they taking a shot? Are they doing, breaking tendencies with those things? Those are things we just don't know. And we know what Ryan Day would do. We've seen him countless times either try to run it up the middle and have some struggles there, or lean on the passing game and what they do best in those short yardage situations. Or last year they were able to convert on a lot of those short yardage and kind of flip the narrative there. We don't know what Heartline's going to do, and I think, like you said, it's just a matter of you got to wait and see, because that's definitely something they're not going to answer to the media, but it's something that he has to be comfortable calling plays and being confident in his play calls in those crucial moments. Like you said, 4th and 1 from the 50, 3rd and goal from the inch line. Yeah. What are you calling, Hart? And I think that's one of the big questions of this offense is we just don't know because he hasn't done it yet.
I think you should ask him that next week. If you get into that situation against Texas, exactly what's your package going to be and what's the play call? Hey, before we get you out of here, you are the noted nephew of Aunt Karen Holbrook, Nate.
Yeah. Absolute drunken orgies.
There we go. We got it. You know what? I actually had to text Nate because I didn't give him a dad number, so I had to have him search Karen Holbrook in the dad machine. What is Aunt Karen, you think, getting up to in the last weekend before football starts? Is she watching week 0, or what's she getting into?
I mean, it's a pint of Guinness and the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. What else would she do? I think I'm going to hit the driving range, go play get a little morning swings in, and then I'm going to sit my butt down and watch 12 hours of commercial-filled college football. And I think everybody should do that. I know Aunt Karen probably has some knitting classes or something like that to attend to, but hey, I'm so stoked. College football's back. We're on the Hawaii over 5.5 win total this year, so we've got a big one against Stanford this weekend.
Oh.
So, Let's go Rainbows, get that first win for me, get that under the belt, and we'll see if they can carry me to a dub, getting the 6 wins this year. That all starts on Saturday.
God, I can't wait for that. Hawaii versus Stanford. Andrew Luck is going to come out with total revenge. Buddy, always appreciate the time. Thanks for popping on with us here this evening. Enjoy your last weekend before the season starts. Cityscapes tonight. We'll check in again here soon, okay?
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There he goes, our guy, Spencer Holbrook, with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. It was Tight Ends Day over at the Woody yesterday, and Coach Keenan Bailey actually sees youth not only on this roster but in coaching as a huge strength for this team. You'll hear from him coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Do you know what I like best about our plumbers?
Tell me.
No matter how difficult, no matter how messy, no matter what it takes, they just dive right in and fix it.
Get Eco.
ECO. They dive right in.
Yes, they dive right in.
We've got scuba diving plumbers.
Get Eco.
ECO.
You know they don't literally dive in, right?
Well, of course not. Not yet, anyway. The pipes are too small.
Get Eco.
ECO. They won't be able to literally dive in until I finish inventing my eco miniaturizing ray.
But until then, our plumbers will just keep on figuratively diving right in.
Yes, that would be best.
Jerry, do you know what I like best about our plumbers?
Tell me.
They're so good at their job, they make it look easy.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Scuba diving plumbers, genius electricians, and better than average HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith, Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University, Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag BuckeyesCare.
Soy has been keeping secrets, and it's ready to share.
Soybeans are among the most versatile agricultural products. They are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we all love and use every day. Ohio is leading the way, developing new uses for soybeans to support our changing world. Soy low-key slays, and I'm here for it. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Love your Buckeyes? Love Donato's Pizza? Love cookies? Then you're really gonna love this. It's Donato's new Buckeye Cravings Combo. A large one-topping pizza served up with 4 decadent peanut butter frosted chocolate cookies, all for just $19.99. Perfect for game day or any day here in Buckeye Nation. Order your Donato's Buckeyes Cravings Combo today. More pizza, more cookies, more Buckeyes. Donato's. Gotta love more.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill, because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and it's the Toyota National Sales Event all month long at Toyota West. With over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles available, Toyota West at I-270 and Georgesville Road has the car you're looking for. And right now at Toyota West, take advantage of no payments for 90 days, and every pre-owned vehicle comes with a 72-hour exchange policy plus a 3-month warranty for qualified vehicles. Come see us at the Germain Auto Mall on Georgesville Road, or get started today at ToyotaWest.com. No payments for 90 days. Deferred payment. Interest accrued at time of inception with approved credit. Expires 8/31.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
It's time for your daily dose of vitamin B. B stands for Buckeyes, just in case that wasn't clear. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out at Yogi's in Grandview tonight until 8 o'clock. $3 Coors Light draft specials. Coming in, hang out with Murph and myself. Got some great listeners here. Harvey and his whole family's over here, Pat. We were talking to Spence. He tried to came up, and you had to be very mean to Harvey. You basically pushed him out of the way.
I think, because we weren't talking, we were just sitting here kind of staring off into space, listening to Spencer's dulcet tones, that he figured we were off the air. But yes, he came up, said he listens to The Fan every day, was asking names, and I was like, oh, we're on the air right now. He got it. I think, and you went over and talked to him, so I think he understood. But yes, it is great. I love to be able to do this, or we're out at Ohio State things when I'm doing, covering stuff for Bucknuts, or at games when I see people. Always come up and say hello, because I mean, you're not the most outwardly social human being in the world, but I still think people recognizing what you do is always a cool feeling.
Yeah, I like getting to know people, and once I know my people, Pat, then I can tell them no, I'm not going to come hang out with
yes,
you.
As I learned.
Just like you, getting me out of the house is the hardest part. Once I'm out, I think I'm pretty fine. Let's hear from Keenan Bailey, shall we? Because I thought that this was a pretty good little section of his interview that he had yesterday. Nate, we're going to go to the bottom. We'll start with 619 here in what he has learned in almost his decade of being here at Ohio State from the tag team of Ryan Day and Brian Hartline.
What I've learned about football, he taught me. I know he's everybody's boss, but, I mean, I was his GA, and I could coach another 5 decades, and I'll probably always still be his GA kind of thing. Yeah, everything I've learned, he taught me. And the same thing with, Coach Hart. Hart and I have been together for almost a decade now. So we see the game the same because we've had a a decade of me learning from it.
We'll also do one quick one to follow up here, 620, and he says that the youth of the coaching staff, but their continuity of being together is actually such a strength now for this program.
They'll say myself and Fess and Coach Hart are all young guys. Well, shoot, we've been together coaching for, like you just said, almost a decade, and I think that you look around these other staffs and they've been together for 6 months. Well, when it gets really hard, like what do you have to lean on? We've got shared experiences. I mean, even off the field, I feel like people sometimes forget. Like I've been with Hart and Coach Day every day for a decade, barring the month of July. Like Coach Hart walked in the hospital when I had my son, and I was there when he had his first kid. Like these shared experiences, it's deeper than football. So we could have these real conversations, and there's no feelings getting hurt in that room. There's some conversations that are real, but we're super tight, and I think that's a strength, like you just said. People say a weakness of youth. No, that's a strength. We lean on that.
Yeah, and I can certainly understand how the argument comes to be about, or if you want to have the perspective like, oh, these guys haven't done it before, but it's not like they haven't worked together in the same building, just what Keenan Bailey was laying out for you for the last 10 years, barring the month of July, literally stealing the words right out of his mouth. These guys spend more time with each other than they do with their own families, like by far and away, Pat.
Oh, yeah. They essentially become part of their family, as Keenan was alluding to there, with showing up with birth of children and things like that. Brian Hartline talked about it, too, because he was asked about learning from Ryan Day and just how much time they've spent together. Basically, his whole career, Ryan Day's been involved. So I think, obviously Brian Hartline, Keenan Bailey, they'll take for some other experiences. Brian Hartline had, Coach Hazel, Coach Tressel, his coaches in the NFL. Keenan Bailey got that start. He talked about it earlier in the summer on with Bobby and Schlegel about brief time at Notre Dame before he comes over with Tony Alford.
And then the first day that Schlegel was over at the Woody, they almost got into a fight with each other.
Right. Yeah. But so you do draw on other experiences, but they know each other so well. While it will be the first time Brian Hartline is, assuming he's in the press box, which I think he probably will be next Saturday, doing it, he has watched Ryan. He has heard Ryan on the headset.
Have we heard confirmation of that yet, where these guys are going to be?
He was asked on Monday, and he said there have been discussions, but they have not finalized anything. Okay. I feel like every time that is said, the guy ends up in the press box.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It was, and look, though I will say,
Matt Patricia be down on the field, do you think?
No, I think they'll both be in the press box.
Okay, all right.
Now, the one thing that may push, two things. Brian Hartline does such a good job on the sideline with these guys, not just the receivers, but if you've watched on the sidelines, he's active, he's talking to guys, he's a motivator, he's bringing guys back up. So that could be a thing, and you do have Tyler Bowen, who has been an offensive coordinator as recently as last season, that you could put up in the press box. But I still would lean towards, just guessing, but I would lean towards him being in the press box. But back to the continuity, I think it's huge. And these guys still have to prove it, just like we talk about young guys with a lot of talent.
Of course.
But they've got to go out and do it all season long. Brian Hartline has a lot to prove. Keenan Bailey has. But I think they want that pressure. That's why you do what they're doing.
And that's why you're here at Ohio State, right?
Yeah,
if you didn't want that pressure, you would be somewhere else. So.
Yeah, and would it be great to, cut your teeth somewhere else? Sure.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, and we're going to find out. I mean, look, Ryan Day
Keenan Bailey, since becoming a position coach, has established himself as one of the best young coaches. I know he doesn't like that word being thrown around, but when you look at his age, he is a pretty young guy. Billy Fessler, Will Howard did last year was totally gush about him, so he's now the quarterback's coach. But these guys have worked together before, and I know that they're young, but, Pat, they still have years of experience doing it at a very high level.
Absolutely. And look, Ohio State is pressure-filled. I mean, look at Ryan Day. Like, you become a head coach for the first time. I was one of the people that was a little skeptical, not about Ryan Day, but just, man, this is such a tough job, and you just haven't done all of those things before. But even when you hire Jim Tressel from Youngstown State, or even Urban Meyer from Florida, like, it's just different when you come to Ohio State, right? So you're going to experience it, and that's not taking anything away from those schools. It's just, Urban dealt with the pressure. He clearly dealt with a lot of pressure at Florida, too. Yeah. But that was kind of his own making. Like, that program doesn't just always have that built in, especially before they went on that run. So, there will be adjustments that these guys will have to make, even in new roles. But I think they are confident, and I think that continuity is huge.
We'll do one more from Keenan Bailey here, Nate. We'll do 609. What about Max Clare, right? We've talked about him this entire offseason since he's transferred from Purdue. What is Keenan Bailey's thoughts on Max Clare so far?
Yeah, I'm super impressed with how he's been willing to get coached and to try new techniques and to try new things, and that's really why he came to Ohio State, to get uncomfortable, and that's when you develop the most. So, yeah, I've been super, super impressed with his willingness to, like I just said, put himself in hard situations and developed, and, yeah, he's certainly gotten better.
You know, I was cutting up all the tight end sound from yesterday, and the one piece that really stuck out to me was when Bennett Christian was talking about Max Clare, and he was just asked, like, what makes Max stand out? And he said he's the best route-running tight end I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Very sharp on his turns, coming out of breaks, things like that. And he played with Cade Stover, who was really good. G. Scott, that was a wide receiver. G. Scott, a 5-star wide receiver coming out of high school. So that's high praise. I think we expect it, given what he did last year and what we've heard all offseason. But when somebody in your own room is saying things like that about you, and it wasn't asked. It was just asked what stood out about him. You don't have to say that, right? So I think that does ring true, and we're going to see it all season.
Yeah, and the thing that stood out to me the most while listening to Max Clare was his relationship, his, I guess, ingratiation to this Ohio State program and wanting to do the dirty work, right? Mm-hmm. He was talking about himself being a better blocker and how he's learning from Will Kazmarek and all these guys about their strengths and their weaknesses, and how do I become a more complete tight end, and how do I maybe ditch the receiving tight end moniker and just become a total package at the tight end position.
I thought it was interesting, and they do this a lot, but Will Kazmarek and Max Clare were roommates at the hotel throughout fall camp, and Will Kazmarek talked about them talking to each other about, okay, my strengths, my weaknesses, your strengths, helping my weaknesses, that type of stuff. And I think that's huge. You think about what they do on the field, but there's a lot of time spent back at that hotel, just sitting around in the evenings and stuff like that. And if you're pulling up film and helping each other, it's only going to make everybody better.
Hey, it looks like the SEC actually bent the knee today to the Big Ten. We'll do that in the College Football Pulse coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and Columbus football is back. And what better way to kick off the season than driving home in a tough, reliable 2024 Toyota Tacoma from Germain Toyota of Columbus. Right now, get 0% APR for up to 72 months with 20% down, or lease it for $239 a month for 36 months for 10,000 miles per year with $29.99 due at signing. Head to Germain Toyota of Columbus today on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road. Your home for great deals all season long.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Nate Putterball. Major news in college football. The SEC announced this evening that they'll begin playing 9 conference games a year beginning in 2026. Under the new structure, each team will play 3 annual opponents, maintaining traditional rivalries, and face every other SEC opponent at least once every 2 years. They will remain without divisions. It's the opening round of the PGA Championship down in Atlanta, Georgia. Russell Henley takes the first round lead at 9 under. Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantley, and Justin Thomas all sit 3 back at 6 under. 7 golfers are within 5 strokes. And afternoon action at Huntington Park, the Columbus Clippers beat Omaha 9-5. Both the Cincinnati Reds and Cleveland Guardians are off tonight. The Reds start a series in Arizona tomorrow, 1 game back in the NL wildcard. The Guardians head out to Texas. They're 3 games back in the AL wildcard. Breaking sports news when it happens at the Fan, Ohio Sports Destination.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour number 2 of the program for us here on a Thursday out at Yogi's in Grandview. Come hang out with us till 8 o'clock. $3 Coors Light draft specials. We're going to be here next Tuesday, by the way, because football season gets a little bit ramped up. Nate Dogg, you did a great job illustrating to us in the update about the massive changes coming to the SEC, going to a 9-game conference schedule. I could actually hear the excitement in your voice when you were going through that update.
It's a pretty big deal that dropped like right before the show started.
Absolutely it is. So everything that I was kind of reading about this today, Pat, I mean, if we go back to SEC media days and even Big Ten media days, right? I know that there was a scuffle kind of between Big Ten coaches and SEC coaches and Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti and everything. Like, oh, we can't come to an agreement really on anything for future college football playoff formats unless you play the same amount of games that we do. And the SEC forever, for like the last 10 years, is like, no, we're not going to do it. We're going to stay at 8 conference games. We're going to have the Week 11 cupcake schedule, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Our conference is so much tougher than any other conference. We deserve to play 8 games. And so I was a little bit surprised, too, because we really didn't hear anything. Like, maybe you'll hear something 3 or 4 days before some news breaks that, like, hey, it might be trending this way. The Board of Regents or governors or whatever the SEC has down there is going to vote on this coming up today. So they did that, and officially starting next season, the SEC will play 9 conference games, which I think we can all celebrate in a fact that college football fans actually are the ones who went out here in this.
Yes, I think that is definitely the major takeaway is it's just 1 extra week of good on good football.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from those other schools that were getting played.
You can take it away.
But I think, too, if you're looking at it from the Big Ten's perspective, like, you kind of called their bluff. You know, you stuck with your guns. Does the Big Ten actually want the format that they proposed, or was that just a way to kind of get the SEC to sort of relent a little bit or bend at the knee, as you said?
Mm-hmm. Now Greg Sankey's going to come back and say, you need to ditch the 4-4-2-2-1-1-1, 4-4-2-2-2-1. Well, I don't know. Whatever the number was, you need to get away from that. Now we're going to go to the 5 and 11.
Yeah.
We bet the knee on 9 games. Now we're going to go to this, what we want for the playoffs, which is fine because they're the ones who take control of the playoffs. So ultimately, if the Big Ten and the SEC disagree on everything, you're going to have no movement, which is fine. And Greg Sankey said that. Like, listen, we have a 12-team playoff. If we want to stick with that, we can.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what the Big Ten was hoping for out of this is, well, we're going to stick to this format that we know other people don't like, other conferences don't like, and we're going to put our foot down and sort of wait to see if we can get what we want out of this. And, you know, was the full thing that you wanted to have the SEC go to 9? Maybe not. Maybe you did like this plan. I think the 5-11 makes plenty of sense, and now that you have a more balanced thing, and it wouldn't surprise me if you see other conferences do it. Now I know
the ACC is the only one now, the Power Four, that is not at 9.
Yeah,
and they have already come out and said they are not going to change.
Yeah,
okay,
they're not. It gets complicated with the number of teams because I think they're at 17. So I just saw, I think it was Brett McMurphy put out something about it's not impossible to do. It would just be
weird,
complicated. Yeah, and then just with the schedules and whatnot. So
add another team.
Yes, and that's probably the way to do that. But I don't think that was as much of a holdup as it was the SEC getting on the Big Ten's level, so to speak, in terms of this specific topic.
I did see this from Adam Rittenberg as well. SEC teams will also be required to schedule another Power 4 opponent or Notre Dame. And then, Nate, what you said there on the update, it will include 3 protected opponents to ensure rivalries, and each team will face every other SEC program at least once every 2 years. And I don't know how long ago this was, Pat, but their scheduling was so odd for the longest time. Like, it would have been 25, 30 years for, say, like an LSU to go to Vanderbilt, or like when they were, when they had the split conferences and they had the 2 divisions in there in the East and West, it took forever for a Western team to travel to an Eastern team if they weren't a rival or not playing in the SEC championship game. So it does seem now, if you're an Ole Miss fan and you want to go, and I don't know Ole Miss's schedule, so don't yell at me if I'm just making this up on the fly. If you want to play Missouri, and I don't know when the last time they played Missouri, or if they have Missouri on the schedule this year, and it's been 20 years, well, guess what? You don't have to wait too long, because now with everything kind of going through a rotation, it will be nice. But I want to say it was like Georgia and I forget the school, like hadn't played there in like 30 years.
Yeah, I was listening as I drove over here, Sirius XM, and I think it was Jacob Hester talking about that he never played at, I think he said 2 schools, and one of them was South Carolina, which, despite the fact that they're not considered a major powerhouse, has a pretty cool stadium, pretty cool atmosphere from my understanding. He was like, that was the one thing I regretted. He's like, and I didn't get to do that, and actually until, I think he said 1 or 2 years ago when he called the game from the sidelines there. So, yeah, I think this does help. We've seen it in the Big Ten here recently, right, with the rotating. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get to go everywhere, but you at least get to play every opponent, right? And, if you stay 4 years, I think you have a pretty good shot of going to the stadiums you want to go to.
Yeah, absolutely you do. So, I don't know. We'll see. I think this was just great news for college football fans. And you were just looking at Bama's schedule. Like, Bama, and this can change.
Yes.
We know that Indiana dropped Virginia, or someone dropped the Power 4 team to really load up on a non-Division I opponent. That's what they're doing. But I think it does make for at least a way better Week 11 that you're watching. And this is no slight against UT Martin or anybody of that nature, Pat. And I know that you said the same thing at the very beginning of the segment. I don't need that in Week 11.
No.
That's what Weeks 1, 2, and 3 are for.
Yeah, not that late in the season. That's always irritated me. And I get why you do it from a competitive edge standpoint. You get ready for rivalry week or whatever. But I think you definitely would want to see these games be played against, that point in the season against a real competition. And it comes up every year on the college football playoff conference call they do after the rankings, after that week or around that week of like, well, how do you evaluate this game? Because what's going to happen and whatnot. And they the committee members have to dance around that and whatnot. So hopefully this kind of takes care of that.
Shout out to our great chatters in the YouTube. You can always like and subscribe, watch all of our local shows on there. You can even go watch Austin and Berm on there for their daily stuff that they post. Tyler said it was Georgia who never went on the road to Kyle Stadium.
Okay.
Since Texas A&M had joined the SEC.
Yeah, that's been a minute.
Yeah, it had been a long time. So now we get to see 9 conference games down there, same as every other Power 4 conference except the ACC. Nate, we had some Pat Fitzgerald news today as well.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Northwestern fired Pat Fitzgerald over a very nasty hazing scandal that went through. And, of course, Pat responded by suing Northwestern for $130 million.
Obviously.
They have settled the lawsuit today. Pat Fitzgerald put out a statement. For the past 2 years, I have engaged in a process of extensive fact and expert discovery, which showed that I have known and said all along that I had no knowledge of hazing ever occurring in the Northwestern football program, and that I never directed or encouraged hazing in any way.
Yeah, pretty wild story considering exactly what you had mentioned. And if you remember a couple of years ago, I mean, that nasty hazing story and all the details. Yes, it was. Absolutely, it was brutal. And even to further your point on Pat Fitzgerald's statement, here was Northwestern's, while the litigation brought to light highly inappropriate conduct in the football program and the harm that it caused, the evidence uncovered during the extensive discovery did not establish that any player reported hazing to Coach Fitzgerald or that Coach Fitzgerald condoned or directed any hazing. Moreover, when presented with the details of the conduct, he was incredibly upset and saddened by the negative impact this conduct had on players without the program. I don't know what the monetary settlement is going to be. I don't know what it was. I'm guessing those numbers at some point, Pat, will come out. I know Northwestern's in a unique position because they are not a public university, right? So they are not. They don't have to give like Freedom of Information Acts out or anything because they are private. I'm guessing it was a large chunk of change, and Pat Fitzgerald will be back in college football at some point, either this coaching cycle or like during the spring next year. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if he shows up at some schools, maybe just popping into schools where he has connections. Maybe he does the, Nick Saban sort of car wash rehab thing. Not that he needs to rehab his image after this.
Nick Saban's retired, Pat.
Yes, but other schools do that.
I know what you mean.
And Ohio State has actually started to bring in coaches like that. So maybe you bring Pat Fitzgerald in to be a defensive analyst or something. But look, it was always surprising to me just because of who, I don't know Pat Fitzgerald personally, but I've been around him. I've heard him talk throughout. Like, I think it was surprising that was happening, first of all, under his watch, and then that he may have known about it. Like, that just never, stranger
things.
things.
He may have known about it. It was that he was, like, orchestrating all of it, right? Like, he was the point person of everything.
And that just never vibed with the guy I thought was coaching that team and the passion he has for that program. Stranger things have happened.
Yep.
But I think this sort of makes some sense based on everything we know about Pat Fitzgerald.
I forget who I was reading this from today, and maybe it was Pete Thamel, but Pat Fitzgerald is already laying the groundwork to get back into college football. He's been volunteering at his son's high school football program for the last couple of years. But it did say in the report, again, I forget who I was reading this from, and I'm very much sorry to that person for not remembering their name, that he is laying the groundwork and has already talked to many a different college football program saying that he would be interested in joining their staff. And the college football program saying the same thing, that, all right, this is a two-way street. We would love to have you in here.
I can think of multiple programs that may consider firing their coach if things don't go well this year.
Maybe Northwestern.
That's a possibility. We all want the best.
About a U-turn.
We all want the best for Luke Fickell, but would Pat Fitzgerald not be great at Wisconsin if he had the opportunity there? I think he could do some things. I'm not sure he's a USC guy. I don't know if that fits.
Strike me as a SoCal guy.
Yeah, but who knows? But yes, I agree. I think he will be back. Even if it isn't a head coach right away, I think
Brian
he's back.
Kelly gets fired. Brett Bielema goes to LSU, and then Pat Fitzgerald digs the knife in and takes the Illinois job.
Yeah, I don't know if he does that. I'm not sure he does that.
What do you think about that?
I think there's a much better chance he's back at Northwestern than that one happens. But again, stranger things.
Hey, what has adding Matt Patricia done for the defensive coaching staff? You're going to hear from Matt Guerrieri on that front coming up next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
It's your final splash of the season at Zumbizi Bay. Ride the new conservation tower one last time and splash in for just $19.99 after 4 p.m. Get your tickets at ZumbiziBay.com.
Zumbizi Bay.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium Tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
In the old days when people lived to be 40, you only had one option for listening to your favorite show. But now, ooh, baby, radio, podcast, the Fan app, and YouTube, ooh, just to name a few, live or on demand. You have no excuses. The Fan.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Plenty of clouds around, a little breezy, and on the cool side on this Thursday, temperatures in the mid-70s. Overnight dropping back down to the mid-60s and a dry start to your Friday and a perfect finish. Plenty of sunshine, light winds, low humidity back in the low to mid-80s by Friday afternoon. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
The only radio show that bleeds scarlet and gray. This is the Buckeye Show.
Hanging out with my guy Pat Murphy over at Yogi's in Grandview until 8 o'clock. Come by. $3 draft, Coors Light specials. Thanks to everybody for popping in the YouTube chat tonight. This question comes from Heron. You can always get in there, say hey, bring us some questions, all kinds of good stuff.
Love that.
Heron said, Beam, is it true that 0-18 first-time starting quarterback versus a number 1 team in the NCAA? Is it true? And I'm like, I hadn't heard anything. So what did I do, Pat? I went to Twitter, and what immediately popped up, this is from orangebloods.com, which I guess is a Texas YouTube show. They do all kinds of different stuff. It's a crazy stat. In the last 20 years, when a quarterback makes his first start against the number 1 team in the country, they're 0-18. Obviously, Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin will make his first career start against number 1 Texas coming up here next Saturday. Now, I did see someone pump this into Twitter's AI feature, and it said, according to...
Say its name.
Grok.
Grok, yes.
Grok. It's like Gronk, but without the N.
Correct.
Here are the 0-18 teams with quarterbacks' first starts against number 1 teams between 2005 and 2024. The stat is correct, Pat, but all of these lines 4 games for the number 1 team in the country against their opening day opponent were all double-digit lines.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Was like, who are you? Because look,
the
how often?
The smallest line here was in 2012, and it was unranked UCLA versus number 1 USC, and that was a 10.5-point spread.
Yeah.
Ohio State is favored in this football game.
And you've got Texas, who deservedly is at least a top 3 team, but I think you can say pretty confidently they just at least have the right to be in the conversation to be the number 1 team in the country.
Absolutely.
Going the year. How many times has that team gone on the road to another top 5 team? Because
they were all of these games were at home.
Yes. So I think, look, we were talking about it earlier. You don't normally see these marquee games week 1. Now, that's started to shift over the last several years. You've seen some neutral site games, more of these type of games. But, yeah, I think this is, like, there is something to that stat. But if you dig deeper, and I'm glad you did.
To be fair, I didn't do anything. I just looked it up on Twitter.
Yes, but you found the answer, so you dig at least enough.
I found the answer. I just read the answer.
No,
Stop trying to give me credit for when I did nothing.
Thank you to whoever asked Grok. But, yes, I think that is key to this whole equation is this situation is very different. Right now, who knows? Julian Say could lose the game, could go 0-19, and we move on from there. But I think
it's a very real possibility.
This is a very key case of context matters, is what I'd say.
Yeah, it's an entirely different game when you're breaking down the actual underdogs and what the point spreads are heading into this game.
Yeah.
I know that it will be very fun next Saturday, though, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's listen to some Matt Guerrieri, shall we? We didn't get a chance to listen to him the other night. We were mostly listening to Tim Walton and Caleb Downs, and here was Matt Guerrieri. Nate, will go 4-1-2 here in adding Matt Patricia into that defensive staff.
That tree is the gurus at finding out what people do well and putting them in a position to do that, So Matt's experience is incredible. When you've had that type of, run that he had, in the NFL, different hats that he's worn, he sees the game through a, incredibly unique lens. And I've been very impressed with Matt and the way that, we're able to say, okay, hey, here's how we train our guys. Here's how we can build packaging. I think the marriage of that's been really special.
Yeah, for sure, right? You want to talk about a defensive guru and a guy who has done it all and coordinated offenses and been a head coach. I don't know. I can't see not the fact that anything is going to go wrong, Pat, but when you have the best defensive player in college football in Caleb Downs, you have a Tim Walton and a Matt Guerrieri who are kind of the masterminds still behind this defense. You're not changing your defense entirely as far as scheme goes. And then you've got linebackers coach James Laurinaitis with perhaps the best linebacker core in the country in Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, and we're all excited to see Peyton Pierce play. I'm excited to see what Matt Patricia is going to doctor up, especially in that first game out of the gates.
100%. And I think the thing I think will be interesting is, okay, what does it look like against Texas? Obviously, you want to have a good performance, win that game, but what does it look like midseason? What does it look like when you play Penn State? What does it look like when you play Michigan? As he gets to know these players better, they get to know him, kind of all of that stuff. Because I think that's key. We saw it even last year with Jim Knowles in year 3. Things evolve throughout the course of a season, right? And so I think this defense
from season to season.
Yes.
It was a very different first season that we saw with Jim Knowles compared to what last season was.
Right. And so, whether it looks great week 1 or not, I think it will continue to evolve throughout the course of the year, and what we see by the end of the season will probably be some different stuff, some expansion on some things. Maybe he even recognizes, hey, this guy can actually be used here now that I've seen him in action on the field, because games are different than practices, as we know, and you're going against another team in Texas that'll give you some ideas. So, but I don't think you can have a better guy in terms of I need to adjust this, I need to adjust this.
And even if
we
it's
can
just
switch things up.
Stuff that's just very minute, right? Like an in-game adjustment, pre-game adjustment, doing whatever you need to do. In-week adjustments, Pat, coming up with different game plans. It kind of seems like Matt Patricia's going to be ready for that because that's what he excelled at in the NFL as a coordinator. Nate, we'll go to 4-1-5 here. We were just talking about those guys. Rarely does the safeties coach talk about your linebackers, but Matt Guerrieri was gushing about Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese and how huge of a help they're going to be for the guys behind them.
Yeah, it's great. You're able to run and hit and have length for throwing lanes and blitz. Like, you talk about complete players, you know? So, like, when we look schematically, we say, okay, if a guy was more limited, fine, he can't function and do this. When you game plan with those guys, with Veli and Sonny, you say, those guys can do a lot of things, right? They can rush the passer, they can drop, they can do a ton, right? In the intermediate zones, you can put them in all different kind of places. So it gives you a lot of flexibility from a coverage standpoint compared to just saying, okay, I have to protect this player, you know, from there. So it gives you more freedom.
Yeah, we've talked about the freedom of this defense and whether that is, you know, name your safety, Pat. And I know that the shining example has been Caleb Downs, and if he's going to play 2 yards away from the ball, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, where he's going to line up. Is he going to play the nickel? Lorenzo Styles is going to be in there as well. Like, you can name your guys, but when you have a linebacking group that is able to cover as much ground and be disruptive as they are, it can only help out the way that your back end defends a football game.
Defense works on a string, right?
Yeah.
You know, one thing impacts the other, it impacts the other. So, yeah, having guys like that in front of the secondary is only going to help things. Again, you know, we talked about it a lot in the first half of last season. Like, getting pressure on the quarterback from the defensive line helps the secondary. It all works together. You know, if you can cover, you have more time to rush the passer. So, yeah. I mean,
if you rush the passer, you need less time to cover.
So the best, you know, having the players that Ohio State has, the luxury of having so much talent on the defensive side of the ball is huge. I believe, I want to give credit, I think that was Spencer who joined us earlier who asked that question.
Okay.
So I think that's where that answer came from.
Nice job, Spence. Good job on that. He's not listening right now. He's watching Cityscapes. I know exactly what he is doing. Nate will do one more here for Matt Guerreri. 4-1-6, and what it's been like for him in his second year getting to coach Caleb Downs.
You coach each guy very critically, right? So it's like, okay, I've always said this, like, okay, you made a play, great, but did you make it the right way? You know, so like man-to-man coverage, hey, was my footwork in the right progression? Were my eyes in the right progression compared to, okay, I got away with this against a guy maybe I'm better than, compared to, okay, now it's a matchup situation, or this guy's faster than me. Now, what's the technique to get to win in those positions? You know, so I think just being very critical, holding him accountable, and he wants that. Like, he's like a coach me coach kind of guy. You know, he doesn't want to just be over there saying, oh, I got it all figured out. Like, he's a sponge now. I mean, he's latched on to me, Tim, Matt, Patricia. Hey, coach me, teach me the game, teach me the next level. You know, he wants that, and that's part of what makes him so special and great is that growth mindset.
It's even so much so that you had, was it Jermaine Matthews or Davis Enigbanosin calling him Coach Downs on the field?
Yeah.
So not only do you have coaches on the sideline or up in the press box willing to help out these guys and put them in the best positions, but you also have Caleb Downs, who's going to be an on-field coach now for the Buckeyes.
And Caleb said, similar to what we just heard there, like, look, I don't know everything, but he also admitted, like, since he started playing football, he's had this innate ability to see the game, and he sees it differently.
It's a good ability to have.
Yeah, if you want to be a football player. You know, and you have this in every sport, right? Like, you know, LeBron sees things that a lot of other guys don't, just to use a different sport example.
I thought for sure you were going to go with like an Andrea Pirlo reference there.
Well, I figured the LeBron reference made more sense to our audience. But yes, that's a good one. Messi sees the game differently.
Yeah.
You know? So Caleb Downs is one of those special guys, and that's why he's so good. That his ability and willingness to learn that they talked about. I mean, obviously, physically and things like that, you have to have those gifts. But, just the way he sees the game. I mean, you know, I've seen the play going around on social media against Oregon when he comes running from the middle of the field to break that pass up near the sideline. I think it was the one in the Rose Bowl. And just like, you know, a lot of guys, A, physically can't get there, and B, don't see that quickly enough to break on that play and do that.
What about the weak side toss on the 1 yard line during the Cotton Bowl where him and Lathan were shot out like a rocket ship to have a 5 yard loss to stop Texas from scoring there, which ended up in one of the most infamous plays in Ohio State history on the end of that sequence.
Yeah, another great example. So Caleb's special, and I think having a guy who's humble enough to realize he hasn't made it anywhere and he can always continue to get better is even more special from a player like that.
Tony Gerdeman of Buckeye Huddle. He's going to join us. We'll recap Buckeye camp with him. Also, maybe start to preview the Texas game coming up with Gerd in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
At Kroger Pharmacy, we make it easy to get flu, COVID, and RSV vaccines. They're available at no cost to you with most insurance plans, no appointment needed. And we're open weekdays, weeknights, and weekends, so come and visit us when it's most convenient for you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Vaccines subject to availability. No cost to you with most insurance plans. Check with your plan for eligibility. Restrictions and exclusions may apply. See site for details.
Grown-ups, don't go back to school. Go forward through school into your future as an IT professional. Whether you're starting out, switching careers, or a veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you get into IT in just a few short months with no prior experience. So take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Your rewarding career in IT awaits. That's mycomputercareer.edu. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the VA benefits.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We're very close to Buckeye football. Very close. Uncomfortably close. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
9 days away, to be exact, from the Buckeye football season starting. We got high school football, Pat, starting up this weekend, and the Fan High School Football Game of the Week. It is back this Friday. We're going to kick off the season. We got Big Walnut taking on Bishop Watterson. Coverage is going to start for us tomorrow at 6:30. We got kickoff at 7 o'clock. And then after the game, it's going to be the Byers Double and Subaru Overtime with Ryan Baker and Lee Cochran, which, by the way, is one of the best shows that we do on this radio station. If you want high school football scores and educated dudes talking about the high school game, that show is terrific. So make sure, go out and support your local schools tomorrow. I always love doing that during the high school football season. It's always a sign that football is back, and those kids have been grinding their faces off for the last couple of months.
Oh, yeah.
Getting ready for those short 10 Fridays here in the fall. And then hopefully for them, they get into the playoffs, maybe win a state championship, all that kinds of good stuff. Right now, we're heading out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, checking with our good friend. He is a Buckeye Huddle. He is Tony Gerdeman. Gerd, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. What are you doing in your last weekend of freedom? We got week 0 coming up Saturday, or are you going to high school ball tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to go check out Delaware Hayes tomorrow, watch Faye Brackie, the Ohio State running back, commit. And then Saturday, I'm going to try to watch some college football, yes.
Good. I think everybody, I know Pat and myself are all going to be watching college football on Saturday, which is going to be great. We got the game back. Gerd, what were your takeaways here this week over at the Woody, and why was your biggest takeaway about Julian Sayin being named the starting quarterback?
You know, I don't know if the biggest takeaway can be something that we all saw coming, but the way that the coaches have talked about him and the players have talked about him, about how his command of the offense, his ability to protect the football, the way he gets it out and reads the defense, the way Matt Patricia talked about him, how he has, Matt Patricia's tried to make things difficult for him, and he's not been successful in doing that. So everything the coach has said, those are things that you would hope to hear if you're a Buckeye fan. And, yeah, it just seems like they've got some confidence in him going into this weekend, or next weekend.
Gerd, I saw you put out 16 bold predictions for the 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes on Buckeye
give us
Huddle.
All 16 of them.
Could you give a little teaser out there to people who might be listening and want to check that out? What's like one that you're willing to share?
Yeah, that was just a Buckeye Weekly podcast that we dropped. A bold prediction in this season. How about this one? Ohio State will have a first-team All-American linebacker for the first time since Ryan Shazier in 2013.
Who is that linebacker going to be?
Look, it doesn't matter. We don't need to name names here. The Ohio State coaches don't like to name names. Why should I go above and beyond that?
Good point.
We can assume it's going to be Sonny, and they've had some second-team All-American linebackers, Tommy Eichenberg, Raekwon McMillan a couple times. I think this is a good year to make it a first-teamer. And I think one of the reasons why is because of Matt Patricia and things that he can do with different players. I think maybe we see Sonny in the backfield a little bit more. And, everybody likes those stats that negate yards.
Absolutely you do. I mean, everybody loves just a break up the play guy, right? Destroy the play guy. Sonny can be that. We've seen some videos of him doing that in the past, Gerd. When you're talking about this linebacker room and you're not naming names, what makes you unwilling to commit that Sonny Styles is going to be first-team All-American linebacker and that you're holding some reserve for Arvell Reese?
Because of Arvell Reese. You said it exactly. And the way people talk about him as well, he's a guy 6'4", 245 pounds or whatever, and they speak of him in glowing terms. But the reason I don't want to name names is because it's called hedging your bet, and I prefer to do that over go ahead and putting it all out there. But I think both of those guys should be really, really good. And Peyton Pierce, James Laurinaitis said he's got 3 starters, and then Ryan Day came out and said they've got 4 guys that are game ready. So has me thinking that freshman Wiley Pettyjohn is that number 4 in there. So it's a good group overall, and they're big, especially in the top 2. Matt Patricia keeps talking about how big they are, the ground that they can cover, and the ground that they can occupy to make life difficult for an offense.
Gerd, on the other side of the ball, we know the offensive line did some shuffling during fall camp. Does that have you concerned at all about what we might see of this group as opposed to them sticking with the same 5 pretty much throughout, or are you still pretty confident in this group to get the job done?
Well, Ryan Day said in the spring that he liked the way the rotation went last year and that he wouldn't have a problem continuing it. I think what you might prefer is that the way things were in the spring, everything just held fast and everybody solidified everything. But that's not what happened. You have Austin Tierbo going from the right side to the left side and locking that down. And then the question becomes, because you've got Phillip Daniels making the move at right tackle, and he might be the number 1 right tackle now. So the question that I'm seeing is, did Ethan Onianla lose a spot in the first team, or did Phillip Daniels grab a spot? And so I guess it just depends on whether you're a pessimist or an optimist. Is the glass half full or half empty? However you want to interpret that. But I will also say I think Phillip Daniels not only jumped perhaps Ethan Onianla, but jumped Ian Moore as well in terms of getting on the field and being in that starting lineup for the Buckeyes. So I think it's okay to say that Phillip Daniels has played his way into the lineup rather than other guys playing their way out.
I don't care if the glass is half full or half empty as long as there's beer in it. So that's really all I care about when we're talking glasses of liquid.
That's the most Pat Murphy answer of all time.
Yeah,
Doesn't care where it could be a little beer too, Gerd. It could just be a shot glass, but Pat doesn't worry about what's in it at all. He is Tony Gerdeman of Buckeye Huddle with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Gerd, we were talking about the tight ends a little bit earlier in the show. Keenan Bailey, very adamant that even though the youth on this staff, and he kind of pointed to himself and Billy Fessler and Brian Hartline being young in age, that these guys have a ton of experience together. How do you think that brain trust is going to work next week against Texas? And when it comes to actually what this offense looks like, what are you kind of predicting what we'll see?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I assume Brian Hartline's going to be upstairs calling plays. But the thing that Ryan Day has always said is that the play calling gets done during the middle of the week and all of the game planning. And then you just almost paint by numbers during the game where it's situations and what are your plays there and what do you feel best about. So they're going to put together a plan that they like. And then Ryan Day will be there kind of not quite like a driver's ed driver where he's got the gas pedals over and the brakes over on the right side. But as a head coach, he's always going to have the ability to say, no, let's do this. But you've also got to let your play caller go. And Brian Hartline has learned from some of the best play callers in college football history. So at some point, you got to let him fly. Let him be the peacock and let him fly. And then you got Keenan Bailey in there, maybe some eyes up above. I'm interested to see how they're going to do all of this, the operation of it all. But, of course, that's another thing that they've been kind of mum on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You said you think Brian Hartline, will be up in the box. We were talking about that earlier. I said the same. But what do you think are the pros and cons of him being up there versus him being on the sideline where he's been in the past?
Yeah, I think the cons are that he's just never done it, and the pros are everything else. And we were, talking to Chip Kelly last year, who hadn't been in the box since 2007 or 2008, since he was an offensive coordinator at Oregon calling plays, and other than that, he called it on the field. But last year, it came down to organization and communication, and that's exactly what they've said this year. It comes down to the organization and the communication, and the best place to do that is upstairs, and it's away from the commotion of the sideline. And Brian Hartline's got a great assistant in Devin Jordan that can handle the receivers just fine, so I expect him to be upstairs.
Gerd, I want you or Pat, this is a question to you too, to ask Ryan, Brian, or Matt Patricia next week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever you guys get the opportunity, to ask how many coaches are actually on headset during an Ohio State game. What do you guys think the number is of coaches with actual headsets? Because I don't think there's a limit, right? Like everyone can be on one if you need to. I can't even fathom that number.
They do have limits in terms of who can talk. I'm not sure what the limit is of who can listen. So there are limits, just like the old bagels and cream cheese. They used to have limits on that. They do have headset limits, but if you want, you can just Google that and then save yourself the time of waiting.
Okay, I'll just go count when we go to before they come out for the game. They've got them all set up on the sideline. I'll just go count for you. Send you a picture.
Okay, thank you for doing that, Gerd. Before we get you out of here, what do you think Ohio State needs to get done most between now and next Saturday at noon, from when the foot hits the ball against the Longhorns?
Boy, that's a good one. I'd say just have the best game plan possible, and then be ready with everything that you need to adjust. And this is, we've heard such great things about the defense's ability to communicate. The linebackers and the safeties are doing a really good job with that. But just have a good plan and be ready for that. The first Texas drive and the first 15 plays that everybody talks about, Steve Sarkisian's script, and then be able to adjust off of that. But also find out which defensive linemen can play on the interior, and don't stretch that number beyond what you like.
So just be good is what you're saying. Just be good and ready.
Don't be bad.
There you go.
Don't screw it up.
I think we all need to realize, too, once we get through those first 15 plays against Texas, we're all going to be overreacting. So we all together, collectively as a society, need to pump the brakes. And we're not even in game week yet. Gerd, always appreciate the time. Thanks for hopping on with us here tonight. Enjoy the high school ball coming up here tomorrow. Have a great week of 0 in college football, and we'll check in again soon, all right?
All right, talk to you guys later.
There he goes, Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Huddle, with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Not Heartline, Hotline.
It could be Heartline.
We could be Heartline. Maybe we'll just rebrand it. We had a heck of a fan poll today, and I don't really want to answer it, but we'll attempt to do that in hashtag Buckeyes Next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
You know, it's not the shoes. It's what you can put in them that makes all the difference. Hey, it's Anthony. I've been a customer at the Good Feet store for a while now, and I'm all about my personally fit arch supports. They support my feet better than all the insoles I've jammed into my shoes over the years. And my Good Feet arch supports help me in a ton of ways, from overall support and balance to stabilizing my heels, and the fact they distribute my body weight, especially when I'm golfing. I literally have spring in my step now. Check them out for yourself. The free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain, and your discomfort. It's simple. Just stop by the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway or Stringtown Road in Grove City. You don't need an appointment, but you can certainly schedule one very easily online.
Get back to living the life you love with the Good Feet store. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of, just like me. Get professionally fitted at goodfeet.com.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Cover more ground and get more savings on the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick. Gas-powered with a top speed of 40 miles per hour and outstanding acceleration and handling with cargo. All backed by a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Visit your Kubota dealer and get the Kubota Sidekick for 0 down, 2.99% APR for up to 48 months and save up to $300. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Do you feel that? The season is getting closer. Buckeye football comes your way in 9 days. Every game, every season. Proud to be your flagship home for Ohio State football. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Say goodbye to car care headaches with Carvenience from Hinderer Motor Company. This is Justin Hinderer. For only $49, we'll pick up your vehicle, leave you with a rental, and return it fully serviced and spotless. No more juggling your schedule or wasting hours at the shop. Carvenience lets you focus on what matters while we take care of all the rest, making life easier. Schedule your service today at HindererMotorCompany.com.
At Baths R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement, and that starts with the team who brings your vision to life. Our installers aren't just skilled, they're experts.
This is who we are. This is what we do all day, every day.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate, or go to bathsrus.com, 380-225-2284. Baths R Us, where dreams soak in.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at The Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Coming up here at 8 o'clock, we will get you the Cleveland Browns preview show, Pat. Them naming Joe Flacco as the starting quarterback earlier this week. We got a ton of quarterback news this week. That's how I know that football is here.
Yes. Not just Ohio State, but you're seeing it around the NFL and whatnot. The Joe Flacco one was expected, I guess.
I agree.
I think some people are holding out hope that they might go with one of the young guys, just see what you got. But I think
but there's always a fine line in doing that, right? Like, they'll play. I'm guessing one of the two guys will play this year in Cleveland.
Yes, I think that's probably pretty likely.
I think just looking at their past indicators that there's probably a good chance, but it's always the fine line, right? Like, you don't want to throw in a young quarterback too early in the season. And we've seen it countless times, and I feel like, Pat, it's become this way, I don't know, the last 5 to 8 years really in the NFL. Like, as soon as you're a rookie and you're playing as a starter in the NFL, that clock starts to tick immediately, and we churn and burn through rookie quarterbacks so quick now.
Yeah, there's no patience.
No.
You hear people all the time, like preseason, they're like, we're going to give guys time, things like that. It rarely happens. Like Mahomes is the one recently that I think of. He played, I think, the last game of the season.
That was it. He started one game,
yeah.
right?
And
everybody went nuts because they had Alex Smith, and then they drafted Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, even like a Jordan Love, like the Packers.
Yeah.
Sat. He sat, but that's a very different situation, right?
He's a fraud anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wonder why you say that.
I don't know.
But, there's, I mean, even when they say they're going to do it, and I get it. It's hard. There's pressure. The starter's not playing well. That kid's there, and he's doing well in practice, and you want to see it, right? I mean, coaches and GMs and everybody want to see it just as much as we do. But, I do think there is a history of, hey, if you have a year or two, and there's also history of guys coming in doing really well from the beginning. Jaden Daniels did it last year, right?
Yeah, he did. Had a spectacular season.
But, it's
also a history of guys waiting and then not being very good, too.
Yeah.
It's the hardest league to compete in the world. Like being a starting quarterback in the NFL, it's not an easy task.
No.
Let me break some more sports news for you.
All right, let's hear it.
That was it, Pat. Breaking news that it's hard to play quarterback.
Oh, I see. I thought you had another very obvious point to make.
Well, I can break some news for you. We got some Buckeyes in the NFL preseason going right now. We got the Steelers against the Panthers. Jen's guy, Mason Rudolph, just threw an interception to now current Carolina Panthers, what we're hoping to be superstar. Lathan Ransom got an interception.
Yeah, he's already got 2 tackles.
Thank you, Nate.
Yes, well done. He's already got 2 tackles. Jack Sawyer has a tackle and a quarterback hurry already. I saw on the screen up here. I missed the interception live, but I did see...
It was a nice play. It was a nice play by Lathan.
Yes, I did see Jack get up there and get after the quarterback, picking up where he left off at the end of his college career. So fun to watch these guys, especially here in the preseason as they sort of figure out their roles this season as rookies for their new teams.
Where are you at with the Panthers this year? Kind of a strange team, right? I mean, you drafted Tech McMillan. Bryce Young, obviously, one of those guys who had a bad rookie year, came back last year.
Got benched.
Got benched, right? Andy Dalton came in, got into a car crash. Bryce Young then came back and looked good.
Yes.
They drafted Lathan. It's kind of a very unknown team to me right now, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the Bryce Young situation going forward, because you can get his trust back. You can build him back up, so to speak, after kind of tearing him down. But you need that to go right, because you've invested a lot in him, and obviously he needs the help around him and offensive line and everything. But, yeah, I think they're still, I think they're building things in a proper way, but it's probably still at least a couple years away from hitting.
Today's fan poll, before we get out of here, at 971thefan.com or on X at 971thefan. If you could only keep one of these 2 guys to play for Ohio State this season, which one would you choose? Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Smith? I don't know who came up with this question. That is a diabolical poll question.
Yeah. I see, looking at your computer here, that Jeremiah Smith is winning.
65-35, yeah.
I would argue Caleb Downs, because you have so many other good receivers. None of them are Jeremiah Smith. No offense to those guys. But I don't
think that's an offense.
No,
he's from a different galaxy.
Yes. But I think that you can make up for a lack of Jeremiah Smith with Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes, Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter. How many guys do you want me to name?
Yeah.
Plus other guys they're recruiting.
Come on. Bryson Rodgers.
Yes, but the
Max Clare.
Yes, but the replacing Caleb Downs at safety, I think Jalen McClain and Malik Hartford could be a really good tandem. But we talked about what makes Caleb different earlier, and I think that is something that you don't have elsewhere on the roster.
I think the biggest luxury of all of them is that you don't have to answer that question. That's only a question for Fantasyland.
Yes.
Because in real life, you actually have both of those guys playing football for the Ohio State University, which is a very nice luxury to have.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which publication you look in. Jeremiah Smith is the number 1 player in college football, and Caleb Downs, depending on where you look, is either number 2 or 3. I saw the ESPN top 100 players. Caleb Downs is number 3, all right? I think that's a little bit too low, but overwhelmingly, any publication you go to and read, they are 1 and 2.
Just look at the college football ratings in the video game.
Yeah.
That tells me all I need to know.
Have you played that yet?
I have not played the new one.
Do you have a new system?
I do.
Okay.
I got it for the old one, or the last year's version.
Yes.
Which I still haven't played that much because I just don't have the time. Well, I do have time, but I just haven't played. I also started playing and I was really bad. It's a lot different than the last time I played the game.
It's kind of the same, though.
Oh, man. I can't even throw the ball.
Well, you need to work on your video games.
I've heard
you need to play with Mike and I at 10 o'clock on Friday nights.
I've heard that Jeremiah is just unfair in that game.
I have played it. He's unfair. He's a cheat code.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You throw him the ball on a slant, and he will take the ball 85, 90, 100 yards, and will just go straight up the field and break every single tackle.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Only slightly related. They've got the Kansas-Colorado game from last. I think it's from last year.
It was a crazy game.
Yes, it is. It's played at Arrowhead, but I keep looking up and being like, college football. Oh no, this is not.
They were doing this.
I'm
last
just so
night.
ready.
They were doing this last night, Pat, and it was Georgia Tech in the 8 overtime game last year, and I forget what the actual score was, but Georgia Tech was up 14 points with 5.5 minutes left to go.
I think Georgia won.
They did win.
Yeah.
And then they changed the timeout rules that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing, I think, the 25 best college football games of 2024. I wonder which game Ohio State will be featured in their run-up.
I can think of 4 of them.
I can think of 4.
Actually, a 5th one in the first Oregon game, just from a neutral perspective. That was a heck of a football game.
Yeah, absolutely it was. Notre Dame game is a good choice.
Yeah.
If I was a wagering man in our last 30 seconds, I would have to say the one game that would be heavily featured on this would be Ohio State versus Texas in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, probably.
Patrick, I had a great time with you here this evening. What are you doing this weekend? Anything? It's not even Friday.
No, not yet.
I was talking about high school football and everything. We're only here for half an hour.
I will answer that question tomorrow.
Okay, very good. We're only here for half an hour tomorrow. We got high school football that's ramping up. We got preseason, all kinds of good stuff for you. Murph will be back with us tomorrow at 6:30. Everybody have an awesome night. Thanks for coming out to Yogi's. The Browns preview show up next on The Fan.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Right now, our full line of fresh Tyson chicken is on sale. Select varieties are buy one, get one free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com